Welcome back to Cloudcast, everyone. Before we dive in today, let me paint a picture that might sound familiar. You're doing a routine deployment, you remove an EC2 instance from your Network Load Balancer target group, and suddenly your monitoring lights up with connection reset errors. Users are complaining about dropped transactions. Sound familiar?
Oh no, that sounds like a nightmare. I'm guessing this has something to do with how the load balancer handles removing servers?
Exactly right. Today we're tackling AWS Network Load Balancer connection draining and deregistration delay. These are the mechanisms that prevent exactly that nightmare scenario. By the end of this episode, you'll understand how to gracefully remove targets without dropping a single connection.
Perfect timing, actually. We're planning some infrastructure updates next week, and I want to make sure we don't cause any outages. So let's start at the beginning. What exactly is connection draining?
Connection draining is the process of allowing existing connections to complete naturally before fully removing a target from service. Think of it like a restaurant that's closing for the night. They stop seating new customers at some point, but they don't kick out the people already eating. They let those diners finish their meals, pay their bills, and leave naturally.
That makes sense. So the load balancer stops sending new traffic to the target, but lets existing connections finish up?
Precisely. Now I should clarify the terminology because AWS documentation has evolved over time. Both network load balancers and application load balancers use the term deregistration delay for this feature. You might hear people say connection draining, but that's actually the terminology from classic load balancers. If you're reading current AWS docs or configuring settings in the console, you'll see deregistration delay for both ALB and NLB.
Wait, so connection draining is the old term? Why do people still use it?
It's one of those legacy terms that stuck around because it's descriptive. Classic load balancers called it connection draining, and when ALB and NLB came along, AWS renamed it to deregistration delay. The concept is the same, but if you're searching documentation or looking at API attributes, use deregistration delay. Let me explain the actual mechanics.
Yes, please. What happens step by step when I deregister a target from an NLB?
When you deregister a target, either manually or through auto-scaling, the NLB immediately stops sending new connections to that target. The target enters a draining state. During this state, existing connections are allowed to continue until one of two things happens. Either the connections close naturally, or the deregistration delay timer expires.
And what's the default timer value?
The default deregistration delay is 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes. You can configure this anywhere from 0 to 3,600 seconds. You set this at the target group level in the AWS console under the target group attributes, or via the CLI using the modified target group attributes command with the key deregistration_delay.timeout_seconds. Note that's with a period between delay and timeout.
Okay, so if I set it to 300 seconds and my connection finishes in 30 seconds, does it wait the full 5 minutes?
Great question. And no, it doesn't. The target is fully deregistered as soon as all existing connections close, or when the timer expires, whichever comes first. So if all your connections complete in 30 seconds, the target is deregistered at 30 seconds. The timer is a maximum, not a fixed wait time.
That's a relief. Now here's something I'm confused about. NLBs can operate in different modes, right? Does that affect how this works?
You're touching on something important, and I want to be precise here because there's a lot of confusion about this. NLBs operate at layer 4, which means they don't terminate TCP connections the way application load balancers do. NLBs use flow-based routing to pass TCP connections through to your targets. The key configuration that affects behavior is client IP preservation.
Can you break down what client IP preservation actually does?
Sure, client IP preservation determines what source IP address your targets see. With client IP preservation enabled, your targets see the original client's IP address. With it disabled, targets see the NLB's private IP address as the source. Here's an important detail. For instance, targets, client IP preservation is enabled by default. For IP targets, you need to explicitly enable it if you want it.
So it's not about whether the NLB terminates connections, it's about what IP the target sees?
Exactly right. The NLB is always doing layer 4 routing, passing TCP packets through. The client IP preservation setting just affects the source IP in those packets. This matters for things like logging, access controls, and rate limiting on your targets.
Got it. Now what happens to new connections when a target is draining?
When a target enters the draining state, the NLB sends TCP RST packets to clients for any new connection attempts to that target. This is standard NLB behavior during deregistration regardless of your client IP preservation setting. Existing connections continue normally, but new ones get rejected immediately with a reset.
RST packets? So it forcibly resets new connections?
For new connections, yes, but existing connections continue until they close naturally or the timeout expires. The important thing is that your application should be aware it's being drained and should stop accepting new work on existing connections where possible.
How would my application know it's being drained?
There are a few approaches. If you're using autoscaling, you can use lifecycle hooks to run scripts before termination. For ECS, the container agent receives a SIG-term signal. For Kubernetes with the AWS Load Balancer controller, pods receive termination signals. You can also use the Target Health API to check your own status programmatically.
Let me make sure I understand the timeline. Target gets deregistered. It enters draining state, NLB stops new connections, existing connections continue, and after either all connections close or the timeout hits, the target is fully removed?
That's exactly right. And here's a critical detail from the AWS documentation. During the draining state, the target health shows as draining in the console and API. You can monitor this. The target won't show as unused until deregistration is complete.
What happens if the timeout expires but connections are still active?
This is where it gets important. When the deregistration delay expires, the NLB stops routing packets for those connections. For TCP, this effectively kills the connection. The client and server will eventually time out waiting for packets that never arrive, or they'll detect the broken connection through keep alives. Either way, those connections are terminated ungracefully.
So setting the timeout too low could cause exactly the problem we're trying to avoid?
Exactly. This is one of the most common mistakes I see. Teams set the deregistration delay to something low like 30 seconds to speed up deployments, but their actual transactions take longer than that. Database queries, file uploads, long polling connections, these can all exceed short timeouts.
What's your recommendation for setting the right value?
You need to understand your application's connection patterns. Look at your longest legitimate transaction times and add a buffer. If your longest API calls take 60 seconds, maybe set it to 120 seconds. For WebSocket applications or long polling, you might need much longer values. I've seen legitimate use cases for the full 3600 second maximum.
Are there any other common mistakes people make with this?
The second big mistake is not accounting for deregistration delay in your deployment pipeline timeouts. If you have a 300-second deregistration delay and you're doing a rolling deployment with 10 instances, that's potentially 50 minutes just for draining. Your C/CD pipeline might time out before the deployment completes.
Oh, that's a good point. So you need to coordinate your deployment timeouts with your deregistration settings?
Absolutely. And there's a third mistake I want to clarify. Some people worry that if their application starts returning unhealthy responses during shutdown, the NLB will immediately terminate connections. But here's the thing. Once a target enters the draining state, it stays in draining state. Health check results during draining don't change the behavior or cause immediate connection termination. The deregistration delay continues as configured.
Oh, interesting. So the draining state is kind of locked in once it starts?
Exactly. The concern about health checks is more relevant before deregistration happens. If your target becomes unhealthy before a deregistration event, that's a different situation. But once draining starts, you're on the deregistration delay timer regardless of health check responses.
Let's walk through a real scenario. Say I have an auto-scaling group behind an NLB and a scale-in event happens. What's the sequence?
Great scenario. First, auto-scaling selects an instance for termination based on your termination policy. It then calls the NLB API to deregister that instance from the target group. The NLB marks the target as draining and stops sending new connections. The deregistration delay timer starts.
And the instance is still running at this point?
Yes, and this is crucial. Now here's an important detail. Autoscaling waits for the NLB deregistration to complete, but only when your autoscaling group is configured to use ELB health checks. If you're only using EC2 health checks for your ASG, autoscaling may not wait for deregistration to complete before terminating the instance. So make sure your ASG health check configuration includes ELB health checks if you want this graceful draining behavior.
Oh, that's a critical detail. So I need to explicitly configure ELB health checks on my auto-scaling group?
Right. When ELB health checks are configured, autoscaling waits for deregistration to complete. The instance continues serving existing connections. Once either all connections close or the timeout expires, the NLB completes deregistration and signals autoscaling. Then autoscaling proceeds with instance termination.
What if I'm using lifecycle hooks?
Lifecycle hooks add another layer. You can configure a lifecycle hook for the autoscaling terminating state. This pauses termination after deregistration completes, giving you time to run cleanup scripts, flush caches, or complete any final tasks. The hook has its own timeout, separate from deregistration delay.
So I could have a 300-second deregistration delay plus a 300-second lifecycle hook timeout?
Exactly. They're additive. And you need to explicitly complete the lifecycle action or wait for its timeout. I've seen teams accidentally leave instances in a terminating wait state for hours because they forgot to signal completion.
This is really helpful. Can you give me the key takeaways I should remember?
First, deregistration delay is your safety net for graceful connection handling. Set it based on your longest legitimate transaction time plus a buffer. Second, understand that NLBs operate at layer 4 with flow-based routing. Client IP preservation affects what source IP your targets see, not whether connections are terminated.
What else?
Third, coordinate your deregistration delay with your deployment pipeline timeouts and any lifecycle hooks. These all add up. Fourth, make sure your autoscaling group is configured with ELB health checks if you want autoscaling to wait for deregistration to complete before terminating instances.
And where can people find more details on this?
The AWS documentation page titled Deregistration Delay under the Elastic Load Balancing User Guide for Network Load Balancers is the authoritative source. Also check the auto-scaling lifecycle hooks documentation if you're using ASG integration. And remember, the current terminology is deregistration delay, not connection draining, so search for that in the docs.
This has been incredibly useful. I feel much more confident about our deployment next week.
That's what we're here for. Remember, the goal is zero dropped connections during deployments. With proper deregistration delay configuration, that's absolutely achievable. Thanks for listening to Cloudcast everyone, and we'll see you next time.